Have you ever asked yourself, where am I in this spiritual awakening journey? So here is the bottom half of the tree of life. This is the part that's called the tree of knowledge and good and evil. Depending on how we were brought up is going to determine, are we going to be explorers or are we going to be people who will, don't explore? And so between the ages of 21 and 50, you are out in the world. This is where your exploration and your living comes in. You live there. You start your own business, you start a family, you travel, you explore, you see all the different things that are happening. Spiritually, it's the same thing. What we are supposed to be doing in that time of our life is go explore all the different facets of spirituality, of religion, of culture and stuff. However, what happens here? Well, depending on how we were brought up and up to age 21 is going to determine, are we going to be explorers or are we going to be people who will, don't explore? I don't know what you call them, but they're people who just want to stay put. Are you going to be allowed to explore where they can go, yeah, it's time for you to get out of the nest? Or you're going to be in the era where they go, no, you can't go anywhere. You need to be within this box because guess what? Everything else out there is very dangerous. So don't go, stay right here and we will protect you. If you're in the camp where you're staying put and you're protected, then the rest of it is almost like not for you, right? Because it really goes into you understanding yourself and identifying yourself and where you are. Now, if you are there right now and you would like to understand more about yourself and go into your soul, your being, then we'll need to dive into certain things to get you out of there. Now, it's 21 allegorically, but you could be age 70 and still be there because you're still under that control. I'm still going to go through the rest of it, but for right now, let's just say the rest of it might be not where you are going to identify with for right now. Okay, but you can still listen. Between 50 and 60, you are now going to start to detach. So here's a tricky part. For the first 50 years, you're almost like getting to an attachment to be you, to be the individual, to understand self and stuff like that. And then now between 50 and 60, you're going to throw that away. You're not going to have self anymore. You're not going to be identified with stuff anymore. You're going to start to detach. Now, for some people, that doesn't make any sense, right? But depending on where you are in your spiritual journey and you realize, yes, I've had to detach from a lot of things. So that's our allegorically between the ages of 50 and 60. Between the ages of 60 and 70 is where you start realizing service to others as opposed to just service to self. And then you really understand unconditional love. You really understand the freedom of choice. You really start understanding and embodying things like do no harm. And the principles of how you really treat others than the outside start sinking in. Doesn't mean you're not going to do that prior to that, but it really takes on a whole nother level of understanding when you get to that point. Then between 80 and 90 years old is where we start to understand the vibrational reality, start to understanding the soul, start to understanding that we are a part of the universe. We realize we're all connected in some way. We influence each other. We start looking into our mental capacity. What's our emotion like? Where do we have our heart? And the term insta that I have goes through that. It says here are all the different emotional and thoughts and ego and stuff like that that you are going to now be so much more um, acutely aware of between those ages. And if you realize by the time you get to 80 years old or 90 years old, you're so much wiser. You're so much more calm with certain things. And so it's at that point, it's a little bit easier for you to understand those type of teachings and training and stuff like that we're going through. Now, again, this is allegorically for the age. You can be at 50 years old and know that. You can be at 35 and know that. Our ascended master, like Jesus, was much younger when he found this out. There are other ascended masters that were much younger as well when they find this out. Depending on the culture, depending on your religious culture and your openness to other cultures, will determine how comfortable you are with my throwing out names across different religious aspects. For me, it's not about the individual religion, so that's why I'm able to do this. It's about getting you, the individual, in the place that you need to be able to make the decisions that's best for you and for you to become a sovereign, independent individual that can take control of your own spirituality. Between the ages of 90 to 100 is where now you are going to start understanding the soul. Where are the soul? You're communing with the soul. You're communing with the higher soul. You're communing with the spirits. You're able to, wow, reality is totally different at that level. Okay. Reality is totally different at that level. And at the same time, you are still able to understand everything that's going on in the different age groups, right? You are not in that category and be it's like a spiritual bypass or have some form of ego that puts you into a higher category. And that's one of the reasons we have to go through, especially the age where we look at our ego, we look at our thoughts, and we look at all the different aspects of our emotion and spend the time through there to do it properly, because you can't ascend with the wrong thing. And so some people will actually think they have ascended, but their ego and emotion is actually taken care. Their ego and emotion has actually um, trick them into believing that's the case. So between the ages of 100 to 120 is where you are in a whole nother category of illuminated masters and transcendental individuals, right? A lot of people are trying to be at the transcendental part now when actually they haven't even passed age 60 yet. um, so this just lines it up for you and let you see where you are individually. Hopefully that helped. I didn't go through some of the other parts as to how it links with the four states of health or the seven pillars of our third dimension, because all these different things link across the board. So the way in which the program is broken out is that you have a part where we have the seven pillars of our third dimension. That just gives you an overall basis of really what's going on everywhere in the universe, how our minds work, our attraction to certain things, and where we're supposed to be. Then we have this part that says, okay, now this is the growth for spiritual development. How do you grow through it and ensure that you know where you're at so you can actually attack, or you can approach those individual training properly, because we know, if you're here, then this is the part of the training you need, and if you're here, then this is part of the training you need, and stuff like that. Then we have the part where we take out the emotional body, the vibrational body, and really hone in on that specific part. We hone in on that part because it helps across the board. And even if you're not there yet, it really helps for your development. So between the ages of 21 and 50, that really helps because there are a lot of things that you'll be doing that will, the understanding of that part will make it so much easier for you. Then the fourth part are all the practices, whether you call them rituals or service or ceremony, all the different practices that we go through and get the practices, why we have the practices, how are these practices done, what do we do on a daily basis. So people will go and will pray if they want to. They have meditations, they have chanting. These are all practices in different level of spirituality that we have. So there are four different parts to it that gives you the entire buffet of spirituality. That is an introduction to everything. And then from there, you're able to just go and explore in all the different angles that you would like to explore. None of this is going to tell you this is the religion that you need to in, or this is the spiritual doctrine that you need to listen to, or here is the ones that you need to follow. It opens you up to all the different possibilities so that you can gravitate to the one that suits you best, with few key principles in there that you can say, this will make me a very good human. Hope this was able to help you in some way and it wasn't too long or too complicated. But until next time, take care and goodbye.